Hi, my name is Gretchen Leary. I'm 27 years old and I have Asperger Syndrome. This video is for Autism Awareness Month, which is just around the corner. I wanted to share with you a piece of my story because I think that everyone wants to be heard, right? Um, but for this next coming month, sometimes our stories within the autism community are conveyed with or without words. Um, And, for me, growing up as a child, I remembered um, going to sleepovers. I don't really know how I even got invited half the time. But a lot of like pity friendships, even as a young child, because I just didn't get it. I still don't get a lot of social cues and social situations and discussions. But I went to 12 schools before I graduated. Um, and from there, I thought things were going to change so drastically. In middle school, I thought, oh my goodness, I have how many years left of school to go through because of the bullying, and I don't want this video to be a trigger for anyone, but, so I'll just leave it as I went through a lot of bullying growing up. And it was horrible. And my hope is that with the generations that come next, that there will be some sort of impact where people start caring and having some compassion um, for each other, because I feel like somehow it's gotten lost along the way. I grew up in a very religious household with a lot of rules, and I think that I've always seen things in black and white, and so that just made it even more so that way. And I think there was a little bit of self-righteousness on my part that probably prevented some friendships from being made. Um, but I forced myself over the years to really learn to try to take a step back before judging someone else. We all have different stories. And one of the biggest things that came out of all of that for me was finally accepting and admitting to myself before anyone else that I wasn't straight. And so I talk a lot on Twitter about autism advocacy and what my story is and how it maybe fits in with everybody else's story. But then there's also the other piece of me that wants to speak to the LGBT community and say I'm with you on this as well. But it seems like the support is very divided between the groups, and there's bullying on both sides, so it's like a double whammy. Um, I think, with a diagnosis at the age of 23, it gave me a lot of time to learn coping skills without knowing what the actual problem was, the sensory issues, the bright lights issues, the horrible, painful sounds. I just figured that was what everyone went through. I really didn't understand that what was happening to me was not happening to everyone else, and that not everyone is in pain for hours after a fire alarm goes off. Not everyone is terrified of driving. Not that that's necessarily related to the Asperger's piece, but I think a lot of times people assume that the way I present myself seems like this anxious, insecure person, and that's not really the case. I have a lot of pride in who I am. Um, I don't identify myself by my disability or my orientation. Those are just pieces of who I am. I am Gretchen, right? And we're all different, and we all have our own stories. Um, I think that a lot of people that have come up to me that have said, uh, you don't seem like somebody with Asperger's syndrome, are also some of the same people that would say she's a little bit odd or maybe just kind of quirky. I don't really know how to put my finger on it, but when I've asked people that have told me that you don't seem like a person with Asperger's, my response is generally, well, what does that look like to you? What experience do you have with that? Trying not to be defensive, because it's not something to be defensive about. People just don't understand. And I really hope that this year, um, I can be part of the voice of our autism community, and I hope that we can really put aside our the political agendas and the extreme views, the people that are protesting against whatever, and instead of protesting, that we can really be unified, right? Can't have a community without unity. It's a cliche, but it's true, you know, and um, I don't care what organizations you support or don't support. I just want to hear your story, um, and maybe you'll hear mine. You know, I just I don't quite understand why it has to be a political thing. I know that plenty of people have different points of view within the autism community, and there's the autistic pride and what does that mean, and there's the cure and what does cure look like, and once you really break down beyond the nitty gritty of all of it, we really just need each other, right? We need that emotional support, to be a strong community. And I just want to be able to be there for others. You know, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a therapist. I just want to be able to do what others were not able to do for me, and step outside that box of my comfort zone, and maybe meet people that are not like me, because I have definitely have my um, particular interests that not everyone can relate to. The sitcoms that I watch and know half the words to, not everyone wants to hear that all the time, and I get it. To a certain extent, I get it. That's my comfort zone. And this April, 2014, I want to be able to step outside that comfort zone, and meet people online or wherever, and be able to share my story and hear theirs. I've been working a lot on trying to learn how to actively listen, and that can be hard when I've grown up feeling like I have to always be on the defense. But I think that, the Twitter community, the autism community within Twitter, um, is incredible and has so much potential to really make a huge impact. I think it's made a huge impact on my life. And I think that if we put all of our puzzle pieces together, I feel like we all are different puzzle pieces. As people have said that a lot, kind of drawn that analogy that if we put us all together and we're really unified, then we will paint a picture that will make an impact, that speaks beyond words, right? That's kind of what autism is about, is being able to see beyond the words sometimes, and understand beyond the words. And I can't wait to hear your story. And if you want, you can send me your story if you want. My website is www.gretchenleary.com. And I can't wait for April to be here. Thank you.